In this video, we're going to discuss, can you make changes after course registration deadlines in Ontario high schools? Can you change your mind about your course selection? Quick answer is absolutely yes, you can. You can change your mind at any time. Okay? You could be in a class and say, "Yo, I don't like this law class. I want to do a next class." However, some guidance counselors are really strict, and I don't agree with it because I think that you may thought that this was for you and then it's just not. Like I got to switch in university. I went to an anthro class. I sat down and I said, no, this is not for me. I need to switch courses. And I did. And I switched into another course that I liked. Mind you, I'm paying a lot of money for it. However, I still think you should have the same opportunity. The problem is waiting too long. I think you should have like a week max, 2 weeks max to switch. I also think that when it gets to semester two, you should be talking to your peers to know whether or not you should switch. And I think that, you should set yourself up for success. And I think that sometimes the system is so focused on checking boxes that they forget to actually pay attention to the child themselves. And if you really have deep concerns, you might just have to use your parents to advocate for you, and or you're going to have to use the vice principal, get the parents to go to the vice principal so that they can take a look at the courses available and they can tell you yes or no. So just keep in mind you can change. And for the parents who are watching this, just be mindful that if your kid is an academic, and they're not doing well and you're like, hey, I think they should go to applied, you can do that. I've seen kids change into my own classes personally at midterms. So if it is an at-risk situation where they're in jeopardy of getting their credit, you can advocate for that. Mind you, that doesn't mean they switch in the course, they're getting an 80%. They're going to have to play catch up because it's a curriculum is a curriculum. You can't say, hey, because you came to my class late, the 2 months you don't have to do. That's not how it works. If you switch into a course 2 months late, it's the discretion of the teacher to decide how you meet the requirements that you missed for 2 months. But I do think that that's really important to have that opportunity, especially in the science, math, and English, to determine that electives you should pass. If you show up every day, you try your best, you work hard, you should pass. But when it comes to the core classes, again, the goal is to set kids up for success, not failure. So that's the latest I've seen is like a week after midterm marks have been given. However, that depends if there is room in the course. So if there was no room in that course that they were switching into was full by union standards. I could only teach this many kids in my class. You can't switch. So it doesn't matter where you go to, you could go anywhere in the superintendent. You either have your kid's timetable is switching or they're staying in that class because there's a union mandate that says that a teacher has to have a certain amount of kids in each class and they can't go over. So it's non-negotiable. That's why it's really, really, really important, as stated previously, for you to switch as soon as possible. So most course registration is due in like end of February, early March, or mid-March. And you want to make sure that if you decide, hey, I actually think I should take this. I've been doing, my courses because sometimes they're making you decide and you're like, I just started math class. Like the semester just started. So you can say, hey, you know what? I'm not actually doing too well in math right now. So maybe I should switch to the college level for next year. So you can still go to your guidance counselor and be like, you know what? I thought about it. Looking at my math marks, I think it's best for me to switch to college. You can still switch. You can switch all the way up to June, for sure, all the way up to June. It gets a little harder in August, not impossible. Definitely you should be able to do it. Not impossible. The only hard part is like, I want to get into law. There's certain classes, especially electives, that have wait lists. So those are a little harder, but the core class, you should always be able to switch. You might have to not have a certain electives that you wanted. So there are some give and takes. You can't have it all. Cannot have it all. That's the hardest part about telling students and parents. You cannot have a perfect timetable, especially if you're making decisions last minute. The earlier you make the decision, the better and beautiful your timetable is. The later you make your decision, then you're gonna have to just get whatever's left over. But again, it's just, Once again, it's not impossible to make switches even 2 weeks after the semester has started. It's just not ideal. Okay, and so that's why I'm telling you guys, go on the Ontario University and Ontario College platform and make sure you find out what you really should be taking. That's what you should focus on, what you really should be taking. So I hope this helped. Let me know in the comments below if this helped. However, thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye and God bless you.